Hello to all my football fans, and welcome to our podcast, Just Fade Us. We are just your average people who love competition and gambling. That's it. So you can tail us at your own risk or avoid the pain of a bad beat and just fade us altogether. Either way, we hope you enjoy this week's episode. Byron, do you know what week it is?
It's game time.
It's game time. That's right. It's week one. So cheers to that. Boom. I even got my UC cup.
Yeah, this is a little spot in San Diego. Can you see it? It says
Oh, yeah, done. Yeah, made in San Diego. Go
San
Padres.
Diego with care and love. Cheers. Week one.
I'm so
We,
excited. I was this whole week twiddling my thumbs, biting my nails, very excited. It's hard because I'm trying not to talk to you too much throughout the week because I want to be able to talk about it as much as I can here. So I'm definitely excited for this one.
I was with my friend last week watching college football, and as college was on, we were like, when Sunday hits, I'm coming over bright and early with the 6-pack, with some food, and we're just going crazy, screaming, placing bets like madmen all day Sunday.
We got to check our TVs to see if anybody's ahead of a game so we can try to steal some live betting.
Oh, I can't wait. I don't know why I'm so excited. Like, I've never been this excited before. I don't know if I feel like money's on the way or I just have a better angle of how this stuff works, and a lot of players shifted around. I can't wait. And we have less than an hour before kickoff.
Yeah, I think part of it is, even though, and I'm sure we'll talk about it, we didn't really win what we intended to last week. I think I felt good about our strategy. And so I think that has me pumped up for this because I do think, one, I do think, feel that there's money on the way. You know, we've had a rough go. So I'm excited for that. And I think, too, just I've missed sort of you walk outside, fall's in the air, the leaves are on the ground, there's a crisper morning, crisper evening. I see all the pumpkin flavors of everything out there. And so I've definitely just missed like waking up on a Sunday and be like, okay, what am I going to research today before 1 o'clock? And then following a Saturday after I know I probably lost something and I'm trying to win it back. So I don't know. There's just something about the fall season when it kicks in. So definitely been excited.
On weekends. I know. Oh my goodness. People at work were like, "Oh, and I was coaching football today, and I won't see my assistant coach until Monday." And he's like, "Enjoy your weekend." I just said, "Football all weekend. Not doing nothing. I'm not going anywhere. Just turning that TV on, having the apps open, and just locking stuff in."
And we get a
Lock.
Thursday slate. We get a game tomorrow on Friday. We get, right, by the time this airs, it will be tonight. We have our Saturday games, and then we got our Sunday, and then we got Monday. So it is for sure a straight. We thought we were blessed last weekend, but now you get to throw in the NFL in on that. It works out
Beautiful
pretty
game.
nicely.
Beautiful.
Well, I guess let's start with how did we do last week? And I know you also said you were not excited to tell me about a bad beat, but you were patiently waiting to tell me about a bad loss that you had.
Yeah, and I'll summarize last week because it was another Saturday bloodbath for me, as always, just like last year. Remember, I don't think I won on a Saturday.
You
I don't
did.
think
You did.
Saturday was disgusting.
You had.
It was,
I remember the day you came over to my house and you actually had a really good bet and you just needed one team. There was one team left and you were winning the whole time in that team and you thought you were finally going to make up for all your losses on the Saturday and they lost. What team was that? I think it was the yellow and orange team with the what are they called in the sea?
like the Triton
The
thing.
Tritons. Yeah, I think it was one of those teams. What team was that?
Arizona
It
State.
was, yes.
Yep, Arizona State. Oh my, yeah. I won't even get started with that. See, why'd you bring that up? But that's the story. It's always one team, and so yes, last week was a bloodbath. But I learned something. Me and you both discussed this, but I'll say this, and it made me think of it. I thought of chess because I play that a lot,
Yeah.
and in chess they say when you have a plan, you stick to the plan no matter what. Unless you have to deviate, that's a whole another conversation. But you stick to the plan. And what happened last week was we had the plan. We said what our approach was, and by that 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock time frame when you didn't win yet, you start second guessing yourself. And then I go, you know what? Well, I'm gonna switch this plan real quick. and then I should have stayed. I should have stayed. If I stayed, I would have made something on the night.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's where I did stick to it, and I basically broke even.
and
So
that's a win in
and that's
this
a win
market.
in week 1 of football. You don't really know what's going on. It was funny because you text me and you were like, "We need West Virginia to do something," or whatever it was. But I had Penn State because we talked about Penn State, and I had the under. And I was like, I said, "Oh," I checked it, and I was like, "Yeah." And then I was like, "Wait, what? You went with Penn? I thought you were going with Penn State." And you were like, "I switched it." And I said, "Why'd you do that?"
Well, no. Don't know. I love losing.
So that was a game that I won on. So if you would have stuck to the plan,
It would have started out great because that was the only loss on a nice ticket I had to win a few hundred. So that was the summary of it. But yes, I went with this one instead. Your socks killed me yesterday, but that wasn't the main one. The the Atlanta Braves game yesterday. I believe they played Colorado. I took their over, and I was so excited. It was over 8.5. Over 8.5. What happened was first inning ended, there was 6 total runs. It was 4-2. 4-2. 6 innings going into the second. Sorry, 6 runs going into the second. And I was like, they're gonna put up like 50 runs this game. They already put 6 at the end of the first inning. Every other bet looked great. You know what?
6 at
There
the
was
end
some
of the first. You're like, that's a no-brainer.
6.
That's it.
I didn't even think about that game. There was the Padres coming on later, Seattle coming on later. I didn't even think about it. And then I ended up falling asleep pretty early yesterday. And I woke up, and the first thing I do is as soon as my eyes open, I'm like, let me check that ticket. So I don't even go on the sports app because to see if the money's there or not. I like to go check the like ESPN.
Yeah, that's
and
what
check
I do too. Yeah, before going in as well. Yeah.
don't spoil it for me up front. I want to see first and then be like, oh. But so I went on and I just scrolled to the late games. Again, I didn't even think about Atlanta. So I just scrolled past them and I'm like, San Diego won, Seattle covered, another team came back and won. And mind you, I didn't tell you, this was a 12 pick parlay.
Oh,
So, right. Those people that don't know a parlay, it's basically a collection of picks you put together. All of them have to hit. If one of them loses, the whole ticket loses. If you want 11 out of 12, doesn't matter. You get $0. All 12 had to hit. A 12 pick parlay. I'm scrolling and I get to the Atlanta game. Do you know what the game ended at?
6.
7.
Oh.
7.
Even worse.
Right.
Even worse.
Worse. Because that means they had people on base. You got 1 run. So from the first inning, you put up 6 runs, and Charlie Morton was pitching too. So I was like, I know they're going to cook him. So 6 points, nothing for I don't even know when they scored that other run, but
The
nothing
whole game.
until I believe the 7th was the last I saw it at 7th. So somewhere between the 7th, 8th, and 9th, they scored 1 more run, and the game ended. And that's how I lost my 12 ticket, $5 to win 727.
Yeah, that's wild. That's why I'm kind of switching up my strategy because if you think about it, if you would have bet on each of those games individually, you would have won money.
Yeah, did like a round robin.
Yeah, something like that. Because here's the thing, bringing up to my
the pull away.
these 2 teams, week 1 and week 2, I invested. I should have known better about Florida State because they're a bunch of fakers. They always have been, and I don't know why I let these people convince me week 1 that they would do any better, or week 0. I did bet against them. I did take BC, which then did favor me. But Clemson's dumb self, I put them in everything, and I teased them in everything to plus 20. And I had 7 tickets, all busted, same thing. You had 10 leg parlays or teased, regular bets, whatever they were. And this one alone is the only one that lost me. So if I would have, again, I felt good about our theory because if I stuck to our theory and I would have just individually bet on them, I would have made money because the majority of them did hit. And you just end up with, like you just said, 1 leg busting and it ruins your whole method gets screwed up.
Ruins everything.
So we will be adding teams to our.
I'll put Boston on there, put Yankees on there, put Washington, put the Marlins, because all 4 of those teams, they've been haunting me for years. Years. I don't know why the Marlins haunt me, but the Marlins, for some reason, they beat, they'll sweep the Dodgers, and then they'll come around and then can't win a game against the White Sox, who lost like 108 games already this.
Okay, so those are our bad beats and sort of just a recap of our week. So, what's your approach kind of with this week? I know for me, I'm going to stick with the NFL. Same approach that I had for college, but I've been so excited for the NFL that I couldn't even look at the other stuff. I'll look at college football on Saturday, maybe late tomorrow, but I really kind of was focusing.
So I have an approach that I spoke about for a couple years now that I'm actually going to do it a little different this year. There's two different approaches, and I'll share them both, because one is that, like, my big money maker, quit your 9 to 5 type of approach. So it's literally either a couple cents, no more than $1, like, per ticket. So I just shared with you like a 12 legger, which was just baseball. So I can't. Maybe there's some numbers out there and somebody will tell me that I'm completely stupid, I'm completely dumb, the math is nowhere near my favorite, but I can't help but to think that with all these sports on, you have NFL, college football, UFC, baseball, you have some soccer on the weekend, they're totally different from each other. So one is, I'll call it, tennis is still going on right now with the US Open. Maybe I'm missing another major sport right now, but you have, did I say UFC? I think I did. So 5 or 6 like major sports right now, and it's, can I pick? I look crazy with my fingers up, but can I pick 3 to 4 from each sport
Sport.
and build a massive parlay? Can I hyper focus on? And I'm gonna do this strategy that I heard once from someone else that's a professional gambler. I forget their name, but I like what he said, to where from each, he doesn't necessarily do this and build mega parlays, but what he does is he focuses on couple teams specifically throughout the season. So, for NFL, for instance, if I like Kansas City, Philadelphia Eagles, the Jets, and the Bills, I would focus on those 4 teams only throughout the season. Like, forget every other game that is like, oh, this is a great line, an easy line. I learn everything about those 4 teams, and those who I stick to bet on each week in and week out. So I'm still working that through, but I can't help to just do some simple math with the 70 some games of college football that comes on the weekend. Like, can I pick 6 that day, that also I pick 2 UFC fighters, or 3 NFL games, and 1 soccer, and 2 baseball, and build anywhere between a 12 to 20 leg parlay? And like they say in the stock market, you just only have to be right one time. That's it. Just be right one time. So that's my approach, and it's low lift, literally 50 cents. I have 2 tickets in now. One of them is 56 cents to win 242K, and I have another one in for like 80 cents to win like 46K, and another one for $5 that I actually put a little bit more effort in to win just under 50K. And I feel better about the 50K one, just because I've been watching the line movements and they're going in my favor. So that's gonna be my approach throughout the season. Like, I want to hit one of those big ones and not spend a lot of money per week.
What do we call them? A dollar and a dream bet. That's what we've been.
Exactly, $1 in a dream, but this time it's like a few cents in a dream.
Mhm.
So I think as we get going and that we talk about this more, I'll post maybe 1 or 2 tickets that I like, maybe one, to not overwhelm. So if anyone wants to
Jump on it.
tail or fade at your own risk, again, we're not telling you to do this; it is at your own risk.
You're
But
not professional bettors by any means.
you won't lose sleep if you throw up 50 cents because you're a friend of mine and you want to try to just win big as well. But anyway, that's one approach. The other one's really quick. It's the same what we've been doing. I'm tracking lines with baseball, watching trends. I'm watching the arrow theory, which we'll maybe talk about in another podcast, with UFC. And for NFL, especially this week, there's no tricks or gimmicks in week 1. It's the better team wins. There may be technically one upset tonight or one upset throughout the week, but for the most part, your better team essentially wins and covers. So that's essentially my approach. Oh, and last, I promise this is it. Last, the within that approach, not the long one, but the one with tracking the lines, I'm not doing any more than single picks and like 2 pick parlay. And those I'll go a little bit heavier on. Anywhere starting off small and try to do the, double each week or and then kind of percentage, turn 25 to 50 and then bet $30 and then flip, you know what I mean? Just keep kind of flipping little by little
Mhm.
and just keeping it like that. No more than 2 teams just to try to win plus money, double your money, and just keeping it small. That's it.
Oh.
Love this time of year.
Love this time of year. So similar, and I think that our approaches kind of contradict each other a little bit. I'm actually, because I do get like, yeah, there's no gimmicks or tricks, I think, in like clear cut games. But if you look at this slate, they're either all not good teams or good teams, right? So you're looking at Ravens and the Chiefs tonight. They're essentially two playoff teams, right? So but the Ravens are the dog and the Chiefs are the favorite. So a lot of these lines or the spreads are around 2 to 4 points. So I did hear this. I heard that 71% in week one and week two favor the dog. So similar to our approach last week, I'm actually going to play a lot of the short dogs. So anywhere that is giving those 3 to 3.5 points, I'm probably going to take those. And just because it's week one and you don't know how things go, I'm a little nervous about what's the game tomorrow? Packers and
Usually,
Eagles
Pack-
game with it in Brazil. So many unknowns.
Yep, that's an over.
That, yeah, I'm thinking over there too. I it's hard to take. See, that's where I'm like, why? I know a lot of people want to take the Packers with the +2.5, but I'm like the Eagles. That's one of those where I'm like, I think I have to trust myself to take the Eagles. Um, I know a lot of people want to take the Lions at -3.5. I have a hard time doing that. I really do think that the Rams at 3, you're trying to tell me Stafford is going to lose a game by more than a field goal for a second time in a row with the weapons he has?
I think they're going to beat them by almost 2 touchdowns.
I don't
The Lions,
know.
the Lions are a good. This is what gets me right. They put the Lions at 3.5, and then they have like the Bears at a 4.5 point
2.5,
favorite.
yeah.
Why do they trick me last season with the Bears when the Bears actually had who's that wide receiver they had before they traded him last year and to the Panthers, and then they had Justin Fields, which he was playing great, I think, before he got injured or before he stepped off the field for a couple games in return. So it was like everyone was so high on the Bears because they played decent for a couple games in the beginning. Not even saying one, like all of them to
Bears
like,
enough.
yo,
I won.
good.
You kept losing betting on the Bears, believing that
Bet on the Bears because I'm listening to all these people
Bears.
like, oh, the Bears are a great team. No, they're not.
No,
No, they're not.
I do believe the hype of the Lions. Don't get me wrong.
Yes,
I do.
they have a great
But I
coach.
also really love Stafford as a QB. And the weapons that Stafford has, I just have a hard time. Now, to be fair, I told you I'm also doing a lot of $1 bets as well. And I do
Mhm.
have the Lions, the favorites, I think, podcast has the Lions winning. So when I did their bets for $1, I put in the Lions. But when I did mine, I put in the Rams. I could see that going either way. I do believe the Lions, if we'll get to they're a top four team. I like, if not go to the Super Bowl this year. Yeah, like I do believe that the Lions are a good team. So it's just one of those. It's just that's where I feel like these are weird games because they're all around these 3 points because they're either bad teams playing each other. For instance, the Panthers and the Saints.
Saints are like 4.5.
4.5, and everybody's buying the Panthers because they're like they're going to have a better year this year than last year. I don't believe in the Panthers, but remember how much the Saints screwed us last year?
I do. I do.
So bad.
I'm going Saints though at home opener. I think the Saints do wet the bed like immediately starting week 2. The Panthers do have a great defense. I'm thinking that game under actually, but
Okay, I
I'm
think so. You and I, that might be one that we talk about later on when we end this podcast. But I think we are not in the popular eye by picking the Saints. But I am with you on the Saints too. Until the Panthers can prove something to me, there's nothing I'm betting on them.
Well, you made me laugh when I was like, "Oh, should I get Chuba Hubbard in like this 11th round of fantasy?" And it's just like, yeah, no. Did you hear what I just said? Like, I'm not.
I'm not
No,
touching
I'm not.
anybody from there.
Yeah. And then someone drafted Chuba Hubbard, and we were
In the
like,
last one, yeah.
yeah,
I think I was more laughing at the way that you said his name actually cracked me up more than
well,
the other.
yeah, it sounds like a bubblegum brand or something.
So I just think that there's a lot of these unique games, and so I'm trying to figure out where you do take the favorites, because there's a lot of opportunity where you do take the cut and dry, don't get fooled sort of faves. But I do, if they're within that 3 to 4 with some exceptions, I think I'm gonna at least tease them, if not take them straight up.
You
Like for
teasing?
instance, if you tease the Rams, right? I mean, you think they get blown out, but if you tease the Rams at 6.5, you're getting them at what, 10?
If they're well, yeah, if they're at 4, you'll get them at 10.5.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
which yeah is actually pretty good. But like I said, I think Matthew Stafford's like 45 years old. Cooper Cup isn't young anymore.
years old.
Like they're not a young team. I mean, Kyrell Williams is young, but that's all who they have. What Jalen Ramsey, I believe, is still there, but he's how the cornerbacks go when they hit their prime and then they end up going. It happened to Darrelle Revis, Charles Woodson.
This is
Sherman.
probably a bad game for us to actually discuss, because you're a huge Goff fan.
Oh, got him in both leagues.
Yeah, and I'm a huge Stafford fan. So we're actually just going off of emotion here. This actually has nothing to do with the game
I didn't
whatsoever.
even think about that. Yeah, I didn't even think about
We
that.
can skip that one. People, do what you want to do.
Please don't listen to me. Somehow find the bet that is different than both of us, because somehow we'll both lose.
But
Somehow.
I do think your best bet, to be honest, is probably to tease the Lions, because you're definitely, if they lose, they're not losing by a field goal.
Well, see, this is something I learned about the teasers, and I know we brought up teasers a lot. So anyone that does listen to this, a teaser is the same thing as a parlay, as explained before. You pick however many teams you want, and all those teams need to win by the designated points that you say they would win by. So if the Eagles are supposed to win by 4 points or more, what a teaser does is you can buy points on it. So all your teams you pick, whether it's they win by 4, they win by 3, they win by 10, a teaser will boost the line to 6 plus whatever the line was. So a 4-point game win will now be boosted to they have to win by or they don't have to lose by 10 or more points. It's so much easier than explain. I probably did a terrible job, but
No,
just know that it boosts the line in a different way, more in your favor. So you're buying basically more insurance or more wiggle room for your pick to go wrong, but still be covered and win some good money.
and you do
So
want them to go through key numbers. So you don't want some random, like,
right, so key numbers are
William.
3.5,
Yeah.
7s,
Um,
and I would say like 10s also.
which is
In
why
my
there's like a big boost there. It's called Wong teasers, where if your dog is at plus 1.5 to 2.5, you want to tease them up, so they'll go to 7.5 or 8.5. And if your favorites are at 8.5 or 7.5, you tease them down, so they're under a field goal. So they're at either winning by 1.5 or winning by 2.5.
right, exactly.
Those are like the main key numbers that tend to be successful. So whatever you do, you want them to kind of reach out by some sort of key number of sixes.
It's so simple, but just
It can
listen
cost
to
you, like Clemson, who you thought if you put for 3 touchdowns would be okay, and then in the third and fourth quarter, just get annihilated. But whatever, screw them. That's why they're there with the fly.
what I learned last year with teasers, and I guess this is just for me. I mean, call it like I guess I call it like the gut test, right? And I've had this happen so many times last season, and the same thing you just said about the Packers, I said so many times last year and got burnt. It was like, oh, okay, the Packers might lose this game, but I think getting them, because it's nice to get a team at plus 10.5 versus buying the Eagles to plus 4.5 or 3.5, right?
It's getting
So
the right side.
right. So where I would get burnt was the gut test. I'm saying is I started, and this year I'm going to do it. It more comes down to like obviously pay attention to the key numbers, right? But aside from that, or maybe combined with that theory, is I am going to just simply ask myself, who's supposed to win this game? And depending on many, I'm not just going to go and do that, but that'll be like my final test because I've done it to where I've teased a team, in this case, like the Packers, and they lose by 2 touchdowns because someone gets injured or they just play the terrible game. One game I'm so stuck on is Cowboys are dogs against Cleveland.
Yeah, I had to tease the Cowboys in something, and I'm just gonna straight up take them. I don't believe that. I think that is such a bogus line.
And I get the CD's not going to be there. I mean, they did get Ezekiel back, and they got, I don't know how to say his name, Dewado, and Dak is still there, even though Dak has been killing me. But I don't know who they're going
Not
to
in the
throw
regular
to.
season though. Dak
What's that?
doesn't. Dak performs in the regular season.
That's true.
I have no
That's
reason to believe that the Cowboys won't. People don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year, and maybe they don't. But I have no reason to believe that they're going to lose.
so and I feel like that's a really good example of that gut test. Who's really supposed to win this game? That's who I'm going to put the teaser on, even if it means a plus 8.5, plus 10.5 versus buying someone
So,
into a plus 2. Like I'm going to just do that.
I could get off.
Depending
I could get off
if I
that.
right, if I ultimately can't decide like who should I take. Packers is a great example. I'm buying the Eagles points and
Eagles.
putting the
Yeah.
Eagles in a teaser because they're supposed to win that game, and it's like I don't think that the Eagles would lose by more than a field goal as opposed to the Packers losing by 10. It sounds crazy because Packers did great last year, but they have to prove to me again. Maybe I'm being stupid, but
But I think that that is true, right? Instead of looking at okay, who might have upside, because I don't think we were just picking people. I think we were looking at who has upside, and you're giving a cushion, but it really should be who is going to win or keep it close. The same thing is with the Pats and the Bengals game. I've been going back and forth too because
putting in
the move is to tease Cincinnati, not to move
100%.
the Patriots up to 17.
Yeah,
Because more than likely Cincinnati is going to win by the 2.5, then the Patriots are going to lose by so and so.
right.
Instead of thinking about this lose by thing, we should really be, because I don't really think the Patriots have upside to win. And if they do, then well, that's great for the Patriots. I mean, I got nothing. Go ahead and prove me wrong. It's the same thing with the Panthers. I just prove me wrong. I can't buy a team that I just don't think is going to win. Uh,
Same.
so
I'm sticking
it's
to
that.
I'm sticking to the
We'll hold
plan
each other.
until I need to switch it. I'm just sticking to it.
But I do want to move us on because we're about 30 minutes in and we still got our 2 segments. So, but I think that was
It's
great.
week one. It's so hard.
I know
I
it's
know.
okay. So moving on to Miller's time. What we got for us?
All right. Well, I already shared within my approach, and I know we had contradiction in our approach for week one.
Slightly. I don't think it's a huge contradiction.
Well, just between favorites and dogs. But this week I'm going. I know it didn't kick off yet, but the only dog I'm really feeling this week is Baltimore tonight. That's who I'm going with. By the time the good people of America hear this, you'll be able to call me out and say you're terrible, you suck, or you're a genius because I'm taking Baltimore straight up. I'm taking them in the teaser. I'm taking everything Baltimore. We have the bet on Lamar and Mahomes to get 50 just to make a quick little buck. Yeah, I think I'm going to put a post up. I don't know where, I guess on our YouTube and maybe the bio with the 20 legger or anywhere between 12 to 20 legger. If anyone wants to kind of tap in and test their good luck.
Or
This week,
straight trash.
yeah, yep. This week I'm doing a two. I'm literally doing a 2-team on the spread or money line if it's of good value. I'm doing a 2-team. I might do a couple, but 2-team parlay going anywhere between 25 to 100, depending on how I'm feeling and how confident I am, and I'm just going to flip it. So that's it. Teaser, 2 pick teams. My favorite pick of week 1 though is Baltimore tonight money line. Straight up,
All right.
straight up.
I might jump on it before the game. We got 20 minutes. I did take them as +3, but not straight up. But I could jump on that. All right. Jump on it. So, all right, let's get into my TD's TD of the week. Now that we got some official stuff. So I'll throw in some other stats as well. I think I'll do that kind of like you said. We were able to like steal a bet. There was like a specific amount of hours that we kind of were offered 50 rush yards for Mahomes and Lamar. That seems like a no-brainer, seeing that Lamar's line is set at 49.5, just in his over and under. So we both took that. For my actual touchdown, so there's a lot of touchdowns you can go with that you know, to me, I've paired them. So there is a bet that I was able to get an extra boost if you add on touchdowns. So I was able to just make a small bet to see if it got me. And I did some like Allen's and Bijan Robinson's. Like those are your like -125 to -105 type of bets, right? So I think for me, I had Derrick Henry tonight, Alvin, Bijan, and Aaron Jones, and Josh Allen. So I did 85 cents on the 6 of them to kind of get a touchdown. But that's just kind of like let's see if this rolls. But I did some research, and I really think I feel good about this one. So I took Aaron Jones, and if you're on DraftKings, DraftKings has each week for the next 4 weeks, you can get a no sweat bet for a touchdown. So I did Aaron Jones. So I got him for +140. He is playing for Minnesota right now, who is playing the Giants, and they don't have anybody else. They have Sam Darnold on quarterback, and I get Jefferson already said he's nervous catching the ball. Like he's outwardly said that. So, not saying that he won't have a great season, but I just think you have a quarterback that doesn't really look great or plays great with a wide receiver who's a little nervous or anxious. And you really just have a guy who loves to take little screenshots and run down the field. So I'm like, give me plus money on Aaron Jones for sure. I'll take that. So I took him. I also took his over rushing yards because it's 56. And I think that they're going to be game heavy on him. Another one in that game, I actually like that the new rookie Neighbors. Nabbers, I think.
For Giants?
Yeah, I took him for over 5 receptions, and I took him for over 60 yards as well. I really think Stroud, I took him for over 1.5 touchdowns. I think you're going up against Richardson now, back with the Colts. So again, my big one is Aaron Jones. I'm sticking with it. That's who I'm going with. Give me the touchdown. That's what I'm taking. So that will wrap up my segment there and lead us sort of into our bets. I think we got a hedge, and I think that we do have a fade. So it sounds like, based on what we just talked about, we are saying if you're going to bet with us, you should tease the Colts. Not necessarily take them straight up, but if you're going to put somebody in a teaser, you should take the side of the Colts. That is who we are saying you should ride with us at. The hedges we're both on 2 sides here of a dog week versus a fave week. And so that is really you might want to kind of think about this and play some sides here. I'm going with the numbers, 71%. And I do believe Byron, though, when he is saying, though, you shouldn't buy into some tricks either. So you should trust your gut there. And then for the fade, what do we just talked about it. It was on my head. We both liked it, but
not was it the Packers game or the Cowboys game?
Who we fading?
You're talking about the Giants?
I'm taking the Giants. I don't know about you. We didn't talk about that game, but I'm I'm rolling with the Giants. They're actually my survivor pick. I forgot to tell you that. That's my survivor pick. I'm rolling with the Giants. I want them out the way. Who better to beat but these dumbass Vikings?
See, you're going bold because here's the thing.
I know you're a big fan, but I can't take the Vikings here.
Because I want to. Oh my goodness! So this is all I'm saying is we're gonna find out on Sunday if Sam Darnold is the problem or was it the Jets. Was it the Jets curse? That's what we're gonna find out. Because you're gonna be shocked when Sam Darnold comes out and he throws for like 300 yards, and
He's not going.
you're
The Giants don't have anybody. That's why I'm taking them. This is the week that they're gonna win.
oh my goodness. So I I don't want to share my whole strategy, but I took the Bucks this week.
Interesting.
I took the Bucks this week because right in your nails. Because here's the thing, I personally like Daniel Jones, but you're right. The Giants have nobody. Because
You might as well get them out the way too. So
right. So I'm taking the Bucks because the Bucks have weapons. The Bucks are I say decent lightly, but who are they playing? They're playing a bum. I think they're playing like
they're playing
not Carolina.
Washington. Be careful.
Perfect. Yes, exactly. They're playing Washington with Caleb Williams, which that's a little dangerous, right?
No,
Because
no,
there's that
no, no. They're Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels. Sorry, not Caleb. Caleb was on the Bears. Yeah. They got Jaden, which I was like, yes, I'm gonna take the Bucks because I never want to pick them again. And actually, I'll share it. I don't care. I looked at all the power rankings for the 32 teams, and I was just like, wait, there's only 17 teams that I need to pick out of this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just have to pick them the right week because certain buys and depending on who they're playing. So I was just like, I'm going to try to pick slightly below that 17 threshold. That I'm not saying they were solely accurate, but what I thought the 17 was in general. So I'm going to pick slightly below that 17 and keep the 17 teams that I believe alive for at least 2-3 weeks. And then that way, the more deep strategy that I have, I can just start picking those teams on the weeks that I need them.
We're kind of going in the similar mindset.
Yeah.
It helps that we get 3 strikes, right? We're a 3-strike league in Survivor, so it helps because you can take a little bit of risk and try to get these teams out. But I fully do have faith in the Giants.
Okay. The only thing I'll say, I'm not trying to talk you off of it, but I am, is
you're not
if
off of it.
If Minnesota's on the road, I'm cool with it. If Minnesota's at home opener and you're taking the Giants, I
think they're in New York, are they not?
I don't know.
I think they're in New York. I also though don't think that the Bucks are gonna win. I'm taking Washington.
Are you serious? No, I don't care. Now I feel even more confident about the Bucks.
Vikings versus Giants. I did figure out the team we were gonna fade though, and I probably forgot them in this Tuesday. Oh, the Saints. That is the team. We're rolling with the Saints, but that tends to be a pros versus Joe's game, and the pros really like Carolina. So you can choose to roll with us Joe's here, who are sticking with the Saints.
Yep.
Or you can choose to fade us here and roll with the pros. So we have a good fade there. They're in New York. I knew I took them for a reason. They're Sam Darnold on the road with the Vikings. Again, I apologize, Michaela. I do, but I gotta roll with these whack Giants that I don't want to take again.
You got to think they picked up Sam Darnold for a reason. He must have shown something where he can be the starting quarterback.
No, they picked him up because their starting quarterback got injured and is out for the whole season.
Yeah, but he was. What was it? What's his name? McCarthy.
He was gonna play.
He wasn't gonna be any good. Sorry, McCarthy. I'm sorry.
Neither was.
I didn't want to say that. But
I don't want to.
I mean, you couldn't say the Steelers got 2 starting quarterbacks, and it's like you still like Sam Darnold is the backup. You could have gotten anyone else. I mean, what's his name still on the market? Kaepernick.
Yeah. Well, hopefully both you and I get the Bucks and the Giants, and we rest easy come Monday. So
I'll be hot if I get that strike. I'm gonna be hot. That 80 cents better turn into 200K for that to forgive that strike.
All right, so thanks for rolling with us for our second episode ever. I'm gonna wrap up here. We got a little bit of a long one here, but we hope you enjoyed our show, our entertainment, and we'll see you next week. So till then,
fade us.